Welcome back to another video where I ruined something you once loved. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the drawbacks of using excessive magnesium supplementation to help you with constipation. Now, here's the thing, right out the gate. I'm not anti-magnesium. This is not a video bashing magnesium or saying that it's unnecessary or that it's overrated. Magnesium is splendid. And a lot of people truly are deficient in it, especially in the United States. However, I see this mineral getting used and abused in the functional medicine space and in the IBS gut health SIBO space, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. This is actually related to my previous video also, where I talked about the idea that doing things naturally isn't always the best thing. So for example, in the case of magnesium, I think that people get into this weird relationship over using and abusing magnesium because they figure, oh, well, it's natural. So therefore it is safe. And therefore I can take as much as I want. And that is actually not true, at least to the best of our knowledge. Now, from a nutritional perspective, I can tell you that minerals tend to compete with one another for their absorption. So it is a well-known thing in nutritional science that magnesium, calcium, iron, zinc, and copper all compete for each other when they're getting absorbed in the gut. So if you take an excessive amount of one of those minerals, you're going to throttle down your absorption of the other ones. So in this case, if you're taking a boatload of magnesium to try to help you poop, you actually might be decreasing your iron, copper, zinc, and calcium absorption. Now, that's all well and good. Maybe you're monitoring your levels of all of those nutrients and you're not phased. And you think, hey man, I could still take my 8 capsules of magnesium oxide every night. My iron looks fine. Therefore, this doesn't apply to me. But what I want to share with you is a paper that my podcast co-host, Amy Hollenkamp, shared with me recently. And I thought that it was compelling enough that it deserved its own YouTube video. So let me go ahead and get off of the screen share here. There we go. Okay. So here is the paper. If you want to look it up, the PubMed ID is 329-71775. I will link it in the description down below, by the way. And it's titled Effect of Dietary Magnesium Content on Intestinal Microbiota of Rats. Now, take it with a grain of salt because it is a rat study, but I thought that it was really interesting. They took these rats and randomly assigned them to either a control diet that had a normal, healthy amount of magnesium in it, or a low magnesium diet or a high magnesium diet. And after 2 weeks, they looked at the microbiota composition. And what they found was that there were drawbacks from being too low in magnesium and being too high. So if you look down in the results and the conclusion, they say that Doria, Lactobacillus, and Turibacter were enriched in the low magnesium group. Now, I can't really comment on any of those other than lactobacillus, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But they said, in contrast, the phyla Proteobacteria, which is very bad, that's home to all of your hombres that you are really scared of. So E. coli, Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, H. pylori, all of the bad boogeymen pretty much belong to the Proteobacteria phylum. And they said that the phyla Proteobacteria, Parabacteroides, and Butyricimonas, apparently I've never pronounced that one before, and another one I don't know, Victivialis, were overrepresented in the high magnesium group. So here we have a state of dysbiosis from either a magnesium deficiency or excessive intake. And what they said in the conclusion was that they said, conclusion, dietary magnesium supplementation can result in intestinal dysbiosis development in a situation where no magnesium deficiency occurs. Conversely, a low magnesium diet is associated with microbiota with a higher capacity to harvest energy from the diet. Now, hold on, let me get myself out of head bubble for a sec. So the latter statement is important for situations like metabolic syndrome, diabetes, prediabetes, insulin resistance, obesity. So if you are harvesting more energy from your food, that would translate to more calories going into your body from consuming the same amount of food. So obviously that is a concern, and we don't want you to be deficient in magnesium. But excessive intake of magnesium might cause dysbiosis in its own right, particularly with excessive proteobacteria growth. And again, that is the phylum that has all the bad boogeymen that you hear about on the internet. So we do not want excessive proteobacteria growth. So the question becomes like, what now, right? What if you are one of these people who's taking 8 or 10 capsules of magnesium oxide? What if you are a person who's taking 4,000 milligrams of magnesium citrate and it's the only thing that helps you poop? What are you to do, right? And I'm not here to be like the bad naysayer who says you can never poop again and you have to discontinue these things. It's honestly not that simple. But what I would have you explore is the idea that you can't stay on this forever and that it might be part of what's holding you back ultimately. So maybe you start to swap out the excessive magnesium supplementation with an herbal laxative, or perhaps even something like Miralax for a short period of time, just so that you can get over the hump and treat this dysbiosis. Maybe you do something like pelvic floor physical therapy, which is really, really good for a lot of cases of constipation, particularly in women, but not exclusively so. Maybe you get into more of an exercise regimen. Maybe you start working on your circadian rhythm, which we're going to talk about in a future video very soon. Maybe you start working on your stress management, and that's the thing that is keeping you from pooping. Maybe you increase your dietary fiber. We have a student in FODMAP Freedom right now who is just mind blown because she's finally pooping like a champion now that she's eating enough dietary fiber. So my point is there are probably a lot of other options available to you if you take the time to explore them. So the question becomes, what now? I'm not here on YouTube to be a big mean meanie and tell you that you're not allowed to poop ever again. And I'm also not actually here to take away your magnesium. But what I would have you explore is a couple of things. First off, let's get a handle on how much magnesium you actually need and do that with a food diary. There is a free app that I recommend all the time called Chronometer. I will try to remember to link it down in the description of this video. But basically, Chronometer is one of several apps that you can track nutrition on, and you can actually get a ballpark of how much magnesium you're taking in through your diet. If you are consuming 200 milligrams of magnesium a day and you are a man, your recommended daily allowance is 400. Therefore, it might behoove you to supplement with an extra 200 milligrams, right? So you get the idea. You can kind of do the math and reverse engineer how much supplementation you actually want to take. But again, I have seen people who are taking 8, 9, 10 capsules of magnesium just to poop. Or I had a couple of students in FODMAP Freedom not that long ago who were taking 4,000 milligrams of magnesium citrate just to poop. And that is way above and beyond what any human being on planet Earth could possibly need. And this is at least one paper that shows us that it might be doing harmful or deleterious things to the microbiome. So if you are one of these people who has been taking an excessive amount of magnesium above and beyond what your dietary need actually is, I would invite you to explore that with Chronometer as the first step. Step number 2 is that there are a lot of different strategies you could employ to help you poop while you work on any root causal stuff, right? So nutrition is one. I mean, I could be honest, some of this is not rocket science. We have a student in FODMAP Freedom right now who is just mind blown because she's pooping like a champion because she finally is getting enough dietary fiber. Like the internet, everybody will tell you, practically everybody will tell you to get enough dietary fiber if you want to poop, but she had not really explored that. She had a lot of food fear and a lot of food restrictions, dietary restrictions. And so she had not done that yet. And now she's feeling fantastic and pooping like a champion every day. And it's delighted her. But you could explore things like dietary fiber also with the app Chronometer. There's also a video on this YouTube channel, maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, I posted it about probiotics that can help with constipation. Give each of those probiotics a month or two and judge if you think those are helping you. There are strategies like pelvic floor physical therapy, which can be really, really helpful for constipation. And it's not just exclusive to women. Yes, a lot of women benefit from pelvic floor PT, especially if constipation was a thing more so after childbirth, or if they have a history of doing a sport that could be hard on their pelvic floor, like gymnastics or cheerleading. But I have also seen plenty of men who benefit highly from pelvic floor physical therapy. So pelvic floor PT is something that you could explore. And honestly, like any profession, not all of them are going to be rock stars. So if you got one consultation and you weren't impressed, maybe get a second opinion from a different pelvic floor PT clinic. Like that's always an option to you. And then there, of course, are other things like antimicrobials for methane, perhaps fecal transplants. My point is, there are a lot of different strategies for constipation, many of which I have talked about here on this YouTube channel and the IBS Freedom podcast. So I think that there are strategies available for everybody to help them poop that don't require the overuse and abuse of this humble mineral magnesium. By all means, take enough that your nutritional needs are met, but please don't go above and beyond that by some ludicrous amount like I've described here today, because there's at least one paper that suggests your microbiome probably will not appreciate that. Now, I realize I just rattled off about 8 million things that you could do for constipation, and I also am potentially ripping away the one thing that you have found that works. So you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed or frustrated or confused, and you're thinking, oh my God, I have to go on this like research endeavor and go figure this out for the umpteenth time. And if that is a bit daunting for you, if you're overwhelmed and you just want somebody to tell you, hey, here's what you could do, here's what works, here's the process that makes sense, I would invite you to explore FODMAP Freedom. We're going to be enrolling again in mid-August. I believe it's the third week of August, if I remember correctly. And I really, truly believe that I can help you poop like a champion again. Again, for some of you, the answer might be in this video or one of my other 300 some odd videos. But if you just want to be done with the researching, done trying to figure it out, and just follow a proven process that's going to work, and it's worked for many people before you, please come join us in FODMAP Freedom in August. I would be absolutely delighted to help you. And I really think that you are going to poop like a champion once I'm done with you. Obviously, you're going to learn a ton in the process. There are a lot of videos and lessons and tutorials in there, but also the group coaching and the email support, I think really makes FODMAP Freedom special. We have multiple FODMAP Freedom live Q&As every single week with myself and a nutritionist who I've trained. And we have email support all week long if you can't make the Q&A or if you have a question between Q&As. So if you're looking for that kind of support and a proven process that has worked for many people before, I would love to see you in FODMAP Freedom. And I hope that I can help you in some capacity, whether it's in FODMAP Freedom or here on YouTube in the very near future, because you deserve to poop like a champion. Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, click the like button, and leave a comment down below with the videos that you would like to see me do next. Doing all of those really helps support the channel and support my efforts in making as many videos as possible for you guys. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.